A very good morning to everyone present in this virtual meeting of Why Nayudamma Lecture 2021, organized as part of 74th Foundation Day celebrations of CSIR-CLRI. CSIR Central Leather Research Institute, Chennai, was established in 1948 as a constituent laboratory of the Council of Scientific and Industrial Research, New Delhi, to serve as the national apex body for leather, leather products, leather chemicals, and allied areas. Today, CLRI completes its journey of 73 years of service to the nation, serving the leather industry with its technological solutions and consultancy services in collaboration with academia and industry, and commences its journey into the 74th year tomorrow. May I now invite Dr. K.J. Sriram, Director CSIR-CLRI, to deliver his welcome address.
This has come link. That is here and they are all here.
Yourself, Mr. DVS.
Participants are there.
Mr. DVS.
Participants are there, sir. Here, this is mute.
I will mute that, otherwise sound will come.
No, I have mute, I have to put.
Mr. Shastri, please mute. Yeah, thank you. Good morning to every one of you, Professor Anil Gupta, Dr. T. Ramsamy, Sri Habib Hussain, and all other colleagues from the industry, my own colleagues in the institute, colleagues who have superannuated, Dr. B. Chandrasekharan, the former director of CLRI, the students of the Central Leather Research Institute. I take this opportunity to welcome all of you to this Nayudamma lecture. It so happens that we had actually decided a couple of years back that the Nayudamma lecture would be held on the occasion of the leather research industry get-together. Dr. Nayudamma, as most of us in the leather field know, had instituted this tanners get-together way back in the 60s. And we still continue that legacy in the form of leather research industry get-together. This year, Dr. T. Ramsamy had suggested that the leather research industry get-together should convert itself into leather research industry and the government get-together or conclave, so that we have a better interaction with all the three arms that would facilitate leather trade. The legacy of Dr. Nayudamma is well known, and we would be seeing it in the days to come as we also celebrate, starting September this year, Dr. Nayudamma turning 99 and moving on to 100. We have with us Professor Anil Gupta. Sir, I am very thankful to you to have readily accepted to deliver this year's Nayudamma lecture. As we have been just talking about the social scientist in Professor Nayudamma and the activities that you are taking forward would really excite this organization to go forward. We were to have been joined by Dr. Mande. Unfortunately, Dr. Mande could not join because of a sudden engagement. I would therefore request Dr. TR to speak a few words about the legacy of Dr. Nayudamma, and then we will move on with a small video from the industry side about what the Central Leather Research Institute has done to them, and after which we will go into the lecture. May I therefore request Dr. TR to say a few words, please.
My endearing friend, Dr. Gupta, and the esteemed director of the Central Research Institute, the esteemed chairman of the Research Council, Habib, and everybody in the family of CSIR, CLRI, and the sector. Very good morning to all of you. You see, when Dr. Sriram was a PhD student of mine, I used to challenge him on many occasions and ask him to do things when he was completely unprepared for. Suddenly they come up and I say, Sriram, do this. I think this guy must have been waiting for a very long time. And he decided to do that to me today. And he said, Ramasamy, you better speak about Dr. Nayudamma. And of course, you see, this is all nemesis in life, Anil. Whatever you do returns. But I'm very pleased to be challenged by Sriram on this occasion. When we talk about an institution, we talk about people, sure. But most of them dissolve their identities into the cause of the organization, and we tend to forget those names of the people. In the life of an organization, only a few individuals who raise themselves to the levels where they themselves become institutions. They're not part of the institution, but they themselves become the institution. I think Dr. Nayudamma, as far as the leather research and industry in this country is concerned, is one such institution. He is beyond CLRI, he is beyond leather industry, but he is, in my opinion, a culmination of what is leather today. On this occasion, when you pay homage to Dr. Nayudamma, I would like to present him as a living spirit rather than an individual who lived for a period of time from 1922 to 1985 and disappeared from the site. Why is it relevant in the context of an institution like the leather research and academy industry relationship? Is important. And it's interesting that this year, this Nayudamma lecture has been sort of linked to the foundation day of the organization itself. Dr. Nayudamma, just not in the role of, not just in the role of the director of the Research Institute, but as a visionary to find that in a sector at that time in 1940s and 50s, where the social inequity was very high, and the leather as a profession was looked down upon to something called niche in our mindset. And he thought this technology is going to be a social leveler. Technology in the world has also seen to be a social divider. The word developing world, developed world is all consequence of the technology in its role as a divider. But Dr. Nayudamma saw the role of a technology leveler in the social equity, and that is the purpose of this organization from 1948. But where did he get this idea from? It came from Gandhi himself in 1930. He came back and said, look, what India requires is a technical training and technology to create jobs for people who are otherwise not fitting the society. Therefore, that job, in my opinion, still not finished. Therefore, the Leather Research Institution today is even more relevant than what it was perhaps in 1948 when it began. And that action will continue. And what Nayudamma set this institution really on a path ahead of its time, that look, you bring technology to people. And for what purpose? To give them self-esteem, to give them empowerment, and to give them equity. The three components: employment, empowerment, and equity. Therefore, as we celebrate this 75th year platinum jubilee of this institute formation, by paying tribute to Dr. Nayudamma, we're actually paying tribute to the 75 years of work that this institution has delivered, and more than that, pave a way for the next 25 years to pursue. Thank you very much. Nayudamma is a living spirit as far as I am concerned. Therefore, Nayudamma never dies, and he will continue. Thank you.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
Thank you very much, sir, for the motivational and influential presidential address. Now we shall have the video on the industrial perspective of CSIR-CLRI by Shri Ramesh Prasad, Honorable Secretary Aishma and Chairman Ranitech CETP.
First of all, let me congratulate CLRI on its 71st Foundation Day and hope that it will continue to render its manifold services leather sector in India and around the world. Among the CSIR, CLRI is a unique place. Its relationship with the industry it serves is deep-rooted. CLRI had always been a step ahead of the industry and guided the industry in its path of growth, diversification, and modernization. Unlike many other R&D laboratories, CLRI's research has generally been directed towards addressing specific technological challenges confronting the industry from time to time. Way back in the 1950s and the 1960s, the leather industry of the country was in the cottage sector, producing either pickled or wet blue or vegetable tan leather, adopting crude methods of tanning. It was in such an unfavorable environment that CLRI entered the scene. It took a good deal of convincing the tanners by show how for CLRI to turn their attention towards simple technologies like using drums instead of pits for tanning. Likewise, use of basic equipment for various tanning operations such as annealing, flushing, liming, and deliming, etc. was introduced to the tanners by CLRI. In the early years, CLRI's help was of immense value to the tanners who were moving over from being traditional tanners of semi-finished leather to those making ready-to-use finished leather. Progression towards converting finished leather into a variety of products such as shoes, garments, and leather goods also commenced simultaneously. CLRI's hours of glory came when, faced with orders of closure of Supreme Court in 1996 due to their failure to comply with the pollution discharge norms of Tamil Nadu Pollution Board. The tanners turned to it for help. CLRI assisted the tanners in the implementation of common effluent treatment plants across Tamil Nadu, which helped the industry in Tamil Nadu tide over this crisis. It is not out of place to mention here that CLRI had implemented the first ever common effluent treatment plant in Vanitide CTP Vaniyambadi. Today, the Tamil Nadu tanners proudly say that not a single tannery operates here without either its own treatment facility or connection to a common effluent treatment plant. At present, the industry in Tamil Nadu is in an advanced stage of implementing what have to be known as zero liquid discharge systems for tanning industry. This is first ever initiative anywhere in the world, is path-breaking, and CLRI had played its role not only in highlighting the need for it, but also enabling the industry to move forward towards this goal. The curriculum for BTech and MTech leather technology offered by Anna University and devised by CLRI produced many technical professionals, and a majority of them are now placed throughout India and internationally, which plays a vital role in the growth of the industry. The phenomenal growth of CLRI in the past 3 decades has been possible as much due to the tremendous support it has received from the industry itself, as due to very committed and exceptional leadership it got from its directors throughout its existence, especially since 1958, namely Professor Y. Nayudamma, Dr. G. Tyagarajan, Dr. K. V. Raghavan, Dr. T. Ramsamy, Dr. Mandal, and Dr. Chandrasekhar, widely known and well regarded not only in India but elsewhere in the world. Currently, it is headed by Dr. K. J. Sriram, a very young and dynamic professional under whose leadership and untiring efforts the leather industry will scale to greater heights. The very close rapport between CLRI and the industry itself will ensure that each will sustain the growth of the other for years to come. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Now we will see the bio brief about our speaker today. Dr. Anil Kumar Gupta is an Indian scholar in the area of grassroots innovations. He is the founder of the Honeybee Network, He retired as a full-time professor at the Indian Institute of Management, Ahmedabad in 2017, where he served for about 36 years. He is a visiting faculty at the institute now. He held an executive vice chair at the National Innovation Foundation, where he is a member of its governing board now. He is also a fellow of the World Academy of Art and Science. He was awarded the Padma Shri in the year 2004 for his contributions to management education. Dr. Gupta holds his bachelor's degree in agriculture, master's in sciences, and PhD in management from the Kurukshetra University. In 1986, he is seen as a pioneer in the field of grassroots innovations, in which his contribution includes documenting people's knowledge with the help of teams of volunteers spread across the length and breadth of the country. He helps grassroots innovators and communities build on their knowledge systems by providing help in filing patents, promoting scientific validation of these innovations by involving government scientific institutes and private individuals and trade bodies, and facilitating tie-ups with entrepreneurs and industrial groups. Dr. Gupta is also known for crafting innovative courses for students at the Indian Institute of Management, Ahmedabad. One of his most popular courses includes Shodh Yatra, under which he took management students to the different parts of the country to learn from local communities and study their knowledge systems. This course was derived from his larger concept of walking through the length and breadth of the country, interacting with farmers, traditional knowledge holders, grassroots innovators, innovative students, etc., which he named Shodh Yatra, meaning research walk. It started in May 1998 in the Western Indian province of Gujarat. Through the Honeybee Network, he has aimed to demonstrate the ideas and knowledge of economically poor people are important for the sustainable progress of developing countries. He is also a coordinator of Shrishti, Society for Research and Initiative for Sustainable Technologies and Institutions. Gupta ji has written the book Grassroots Innovation, Minds on the Margin or Not Marginal Minds in 2016. The book is a compilation of his empirical research carried out through the Shodh Yatras on ingenious solutions and innovations crafted by common individuals targeting local problems faced by local communities. May I now request Dr. Anil Kumar Gupta, founder of Honeybee Network, to deliver the Y Nayudamma Lecture 2021 on learning, linking, leveraging, and legitimizing inclusive innovations for bypassed communities and regions. Please, sir.
Sir, you're muted. Sir, you're muted, sir.
I hope it is all right now.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. It's a great privilege for me to be delivering this address, if for no other reason, simply because Dr. Nayudamma's work is so inspiring. It, even today, after so many years of his contribution, remains so vividly clear to me that he had seen a bridge between traditional knowledge and contemporary knowledge. He had seen that science stands for the poor. He could see many areas that we have pursued in our network, Honeybee Network, later on, but he was a pioneer in that respect. Science for the poor is what his great contribution is, embodiment of creativity, collaboration, and compassion. As Dr. Ramaswamy in his essay, he and his colleague in his essay have shown with Dr. Raghurao, that he believed that networks are the heart of scientific breakthrough. Without networks, very little can be achieved. And we just saw the film by the industry, which demonstrated how deep these networks have been. Not very often do you hear from Association of Industry a tribute to an institution the way I have seen today. I must say that this is a legacy that, as Dr. Ramaswamy mentioned, and I'm sure if Dr. Shekhar Mande was here, he would endorse, that this legacy needs to be continued with more vigor, more enthusiasm, and more energy. Because he was, in true sense of the term, a pioneer whose legacy deserves proper recognition and implementation. I call his model as an autopoetic model of self-governed, self-designed, self-managed innovation leadership. I will explain this. What am I implying by this self-design concept? When we were in a Shodhyatra in Himachal and we saw this tree, I talked to the tree and asked, what happened? What did you do? Sir, I was not supposed to branch. I branched. And then I realized that I should make it into a parallel stem. Now, this ability, as I'm talking to you, many cells in my body are going through mutation. Thankfully, these mutations are not cancerous, so I can continue to talk to you. What is my body doing? It is either bypassing those cells, is repairing those cells, is replacing those cells, or regenerating those cells. And this capacity of a body, of an organization, of an institution, of an individual to self-heal, self-repair, self-design, self-manage is what I call as autopoetic leadership. He gave tremendous freedom and autonomy to anybody and everybody who worked with him. And I think this is one of the institutional lessons that we need to carry forward, that unless and until we will carry forward this tradition of decentralized, distributed governance, we will not be able to achieve closer connection with the community. So it was referred that I have been pursuing Shodhyatra. I have walked in every single state of the country, many places more than twice, right from Jammu and Kashmir, Gurej Valley and Anantnag to Andaman Island in the Arabian Sea. And I will share some of the lessons through which we learned in the Shodhyatras, which have a bearing on what we're going to discuss today. And I will begin with a story of Collagen. As you all know, that he gave, his work made it possible for the triple helix structure of the collagen. Collagen is an extremely important part of an animal's or human skin. And we were in Ladakh at that time, 2011, and in a valley which was not approachable by road. So we walked, climbed the mountain, came down. And during the discussion with the community, we asked them, okay, if sometime you get cut or something happens, what do you do? And the local community leader brought a small box in which he had dried collagen layer, which is collected while slaughtering the animals from beneath the skin. And this, he said, was their safety means, because they will apply this at the cut wound or a burn and it will heal up quickly. I was so happy to see that not only CLRI developed cream and ointments out of this, but one of the very recent paper by Venu Vijayan and his team, published in a very prestigious journal just 2 years ago, has actually highlighted the potential of collagen for stem cell differentiation. Now look at this. A knowledge produced by the communities, knowledge produced by CLRI, is now likely to solve a very major problem in stem cell therapy, because sometimes these cells differentiate not only in the desired direction, but also in the undesired direction, not only in the desired target organ, but also undesirable targets of the body, parts of the body. So maybe Vinu and his team's work will make it possible for this problem to be solved. I would like to refer to another example. We were at that time doing some research in Chandigarh district of Haryana, and there was a community which used to process leather in a traditional way. So they have pits where they will do the skin, they will be tanning. A lot of acidic solution was produced. And one day I saw a farmer coming and saying, can I take a bottle of this? And he said, okay, go ahead and take it. Now, this waste liquid, which is very acidic, and you know better about its chemistry than I do, was used for various purposes, for skin ointment, for skin diseases, and also for agriculture in diluted quantity for pest control and many other things. So what I'm saying is that perhaps a great deal of documentation is waiting to be done of the waste that are produced in the conventional leather processing process, and seeing how, by building upon the knowledge that people have and adding value to that, we could generate much better options for their livelihood. And this is something that remains to be done. So what do we really do in Honeybee Network? We look for crazy people, we look for oddballs. You look at this one moving in a direction when others are moving in another direction. So we look for the oddity, we look for oddballs, we look for people who are crazy, people who are doing something different. Because these are the people who are not following the norms, and they might be able to generate new ideas. Such people exist at the shop floor. I will appeal to the Association of Leather Industry that kindly organize a competition, and we will help you. And CLRI will join us in this effort, I'm sure, to find out the innovations by the workers on the shop floor. How, when did we honor, when did we recognize the workers on the shop floor? But I can tell you, just as we have seen the innovations by the leather workers in the informal sector, in the villages, in the slums, we would not be surprised when we will find equally bright workers working on the machines, but finding out some limitation of these machines, finding out limitation of the processes, and making their own improvements to be able to become more productive, more safe, and more functionally efficient in the process. So we need to carry forward this tradition of looking for oddballs. So what are we trying to do? We are giving voice, we are giving visibility, and we are giving velocity to the inclusive frugal innovations from and for grassroots, both. If somebody is speaking, can you please silence? Somebody is speaking. Somebody is speaking. Can you please silence Shakila? Shakila, please switch off somebody who is speaking, please. So it's very important that we recognize the value of giving voice, visibility, and velocity. And as I suggested today, if everything goes well, and if the association president is here, Mr. Ramprasad is here, and if he agrees, we will mount a campaign to look for innovations by the shop floor workers, and of course others, but certainly by the shop floor workers. Now I want to raise a problem that has bothered me for a long time. And this problem is painful. The problem is of overcoming inertia. On the left-hand side, you have a worker, of a leather worker, and let me show you some more examples. There are solutions that poorer countries than us have developed in Europe, in Mongolia, in China, in many other places. So China is richer, Mongolia is poorer. But those solutions have not emerged for them. Look at this. And this iron base was designed when shoes had nails. Now shoes don't have nails anymore. Shoes use adhesive or stitching. And there are stitching machines designed both in Mongolia and China. But our cobblers, right outside Niti Aayog office and outside Krishi Bhavan in Delhi, heart of Delhi, capital of this country, sitting on the side of the main building. Of course, these buildings are going to disappear now, but so long as they were there, they were sitting there. And they use a tool maybe thousands of years old. And I think just as CLRI did marvelous work with leather workers in Kolhapur, Toehold, and many other voluntary organizations and associations of leather workers and leather artisans, I think there's a need for devising new tools to improve the functionality, improve the efficiency of the leather, of the cobblers. I will remind you all that our quality of life cannot be better than the quality of life of these people who provide services to us. Because if they suffer inefficiency, we suffer inefficiency. If they are in pain, we suffer, we ought to be in pain. So it's very important that we realize that even Mongolia can find a solution. And look at the way their place is organized. And here you go to a cobbler and he's not even having his proper cart. He gives you proper tutti-frutti chappal and then you put them on. There is no folding chair that he has. Why couldn't he have? It's an effort that we have to mount. It is an effort that we can achieve in time-bound manner with the genius that CLRI has. And there are many other examples where we have inertia. I'm not saying only leather sector. In handloom, Northeast, almost every house has in handloom, which can be woven on the ground, on in a folding, whether you can put this loom around the tree, around in any house, wherever you want to sit, you can do that. And we have not seen a great deal of improvement in the design of these looms, because somehow Northeast seems bypassed, and handloom particularly seems ignored sector. Again, a problem that was solved in some way, in a crude way, with only 14% combustion efficiency 5,000 years ago, continues to be with us. All of you must have taken tea, and this tea that you take requires picking up 2 leaves and a bud and putting in the back basket behind. And if I do it once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, 10 times, I pay here and here. And they do it 2,000 times, 3,000 times every day. Wouldn't they have pain? Of course they would have pain. Why wouldn't we be able to solve this problem, which is very simple to solve actually? For example, some of the students, I gave them this challenge and they said, sir, in a bowl, you have a bowl which is attached to a pipe, and you put the leaves here, the bowl goes up, through the pipe, leaves go back. And there could be many other solutions. You could have a small motor which should suck the leaves and put it behind, and so on. Other things can be done, provided there is some Vedana, provided there is a pain. And what is some Vedana? Some means equal, Vedana means pain. This is what Dr. Nayudamma had. He experienced the pain of the workers. He has experienced the pain of the artisans. And I wish all of us have this capability to experience the pain. So when I take a cup of tea, I should experience the pain of these tea leaf picker. And then I should be able to solve this problem. Similarly, all of you will eat rice in Tamil Nadu, South India, Eastern India. Millions of women transplant paddy in this manner, couldn't design a proper manual paddy transplant. There are tractor drawn, but that's only for the mat nursery, not for spontaneously grown nursery. A country which can put 104 satellites in different orbits in a single launch can certainly solve this problem. It is not beyond our technological reach. But why wouldn't this problem be a priority for us? This is a question we should ask. And I think, I'm sure if this becomes a central concern, in a time-bound manner, we will be able to solve this. I'll give you a small example. This is a hand pump. Many of you have seen this hand pump. When you drink water, the output is much more, so therefore it overflows. Now in a desert, in dry region, you can't afford to lose even 1 drop of water. And Tamil Nadu, particularly Chennai, has shortage of water many times, and the train used to come from Andhra Pradesh bringing water. So naturally, we need to be conscious about it. So what did Swayambhu Sharma, one of the innovators, Chandan, one student, Kumawat, another innovator, they together developed a solution, a retrofit 100 rupees device, a small pipe, small tap for drinking, bigger one for filling the bucket. And there's a water in the body, so single person can pump and then drink. No need to wait. And then if still some water overflows, animal can drink it. Now we are talking about inclusivity, not just human beings. We are talking about inclusivity of non-human sentient beings. And this is where we have to build upon and leverage the legacy of Dr. Nayudamma to next level, where we need to also be concerned about the animals. How can they be served through various innovations that we have? These are some examples where when people have to convert higher from low RPM to high RPM, they use a bigger gear, like in charkha, like in a spinning wheel. And then they shape the wood. This is what these 4 or 5 models we found in one village of Dhimaji in Assam. Now, there are innovations taking place. There are efforts being made, but these efforts are not sufficient unless and until scientists will join hand with them and be able to take these solutions forward. So what am I trying to suggest? I'm saying we began with learning. We tried to leverage the learning. Then we found that, no, it's not enough. We need to link innovation, investment, enterprise. Linking is very important. And then we realized that, no, but how long can it be done at a small scale? It should be legitimized. And that's when the National Innovation Foundation was set up and has achieved a lot of milestones, I would say. The only organization of its kind where it has become part of the national innovation system. India is one of the few countries, maybe only country, where innovations from the informal sector are part of the national innovation system. Now, we have to realize that in every organization, all the 4 functions will have to be performed: learning, leveraging, linking, and legitimization. And CLRI has done that in every sector, wherever it has worked with, when it was the Supreme Court judgment that was referred to, and I know Dr. Ramaswamy mentioned, it has also done same thing for Collagen. It has done for many other sectors, many other groups, social groups. But how do we create a cycle which constantly learns, constantly leverages, constantly links, and constantly legitimizes, which means policies? And I will put some more emphasis on that today, that we need to have a policy wing which will which will identify the policy obstacles in every solution that we produce and flag them and pursue them with the policymakers. So that unless the supportive policy and institutions emerge or are put in place, no matter how much hard effort we make, sometime our efforts will not be a sufficient fruit. A change not monitored is a change not desired. And therefore, we must ask ourselves, which findings of our institution, for that matter, all CSIR institutions, require policy modulation? And if they require policy modulation, I'll give you an example. 13th Finance Commission, we were talking to Dr. Kelkar, who was chairperson of the Finance Commission, and we said, there is no funding at the district level. And he said, okay, give us a note. And we gave a note for District Innovation Fund. And 2 crore was given to every single district. And this was possible because the funding was made available by the Finance Commission through the Ministry Fund. Not many collectors use this fund so imaginatively, that's a different matter. But nevertheless, a policy change was brought about, something that individual or any single institution can never achieve. So my point is, we must leverage and legitimize the changes in the policy which support the diffusion of the ideas that we have developed. And scientists cannot complain anymore that, look, policymakers are not listening. It is a wing we'll have to set up. There will be a policy wing in every institution which will have to do this task. Now let me come to the 10 initiatives I suggested CSIR system to follow, not just CSIR, not just CLRI, but the entire CSIR network. And I hope that these 10 initiatives will transform our outreach programs. I'm focusing on one major dimension: how to become more inclusive, how to make sure that our research reaches the people for whom it is intended and is based on the work that they are doing. So how do we do that? So first is, every lab should have a subsidiary company, organization, NGO, which will do outreach, trial, testing, demonstration, skill development, risk capital, capacity building, as was done in Toehold, as was done in Aroma Mission, as was done by the CFDA, which was set up by CCMB. In other words, repetitive tasks have to be segregated from R&D. And I think that is a good model, that if the same task is done time and again, scientists will lose their edge. So scientists must continue to work with them, but also have one foot in this arm where they can guide, and there can be a separate team which will do the trials in the industrial clusters, which will do various other things. So a subsidiary organization is a must, which will do nothing else but trials on the users, at the user's end. The second is, every outreach program must ensure accessible, affordable, and available solution. If it is not affordable, it is not a solution, as Dr. Devi Shetty has mentioned many times, and many of us have realized over the time. What is the point if it is not affordable? If it is not accessible, and if it is not available? The solution may be affordable, it may be accessible, but is lying on the shelf. Then it will not help. And outreach is one area where we need to develop new ways. And DIY solution, do-it-yourself solution. Yes, the patents are very important. And I've had filed more than 1,200 patents, largest by any one institution, probably. And yet, this is important, equally important, that we also realize that there is an equal need for DIY solution, do-it-yourself solutions, so that people can adopt them very easily. The third is, I'm proposing a fund of maybe 100 crore micro innovation venture fund, which will have grant component, loan component, and equity component, either by DSIR or CSIR. Today, barring 1 or 2 missions of CSIR, most labs have no money even to try 10 or 20 or 50 prototypes of a particular solution at 50 different locations and find out what do users say so that these prototypes can be made better. This solution can be improved. Yes, those solutions which have diffused among hundreds of industries, 700 units of that had used that. That's a different example where there was a crisis and the industry pulled the solution out of the lab. That's a different matter because solutions was developed by the lab in a record time, in about 10 months' time, if I recall right. But there are a large number of solutions for which demand will have to be created. And how will demand be created unless I see it? And how will I see it as a user if you don't take up a trial? The difference between trial and demonstration is trial is when it is not proven. Demonstration is when it is proven. I don't know whether it will work with all kinds of leathers in different parts of the country, with different kind of humidity, with different kinds of dryness and different kind of temperature. The solution, this solution or the innovation that I'm providing will have to be tested. And for that, we need to have fund. But this fund will also support the users to adopt the technology. Sometimes we say we are ready to give, but people don't have the capacity to take it and we can't solve that problem. We have to solve that problem. This fund must be created. Fourth, ICR did something very creative. They had an All India Coordinated Research Project. What is the example? What is the benefit of All India Coordinated Research Project? They promoted randomization in some way. For example, a solution developed in a variety developed in Gujarat succeeded in Andhra Pradesh because one of the parent of the castor variety was from Andhra Pradesh. You can't predict it always. There must be some element of randomization. There must be some element of serendipity. There must be some element of unexpected potential. How do we harness that potential? We can't only try where we see a target approach. We can also try in places where we don't know whether it will work or not. And of course, that means we are quoting uncertainty. And that's why randomization is better. ICR generated a lot of successes. We don't have an all India distributed on-farm, in-field, or cluster trial scheme and carbon. We don't have that in CSIR. We don't have that in PSIR. So our outreach is limited. And if we don't want to change it, that's a different matter. But I believe that we want to change it because today scientists are also very enthusiastic about delivering their solutions. You should remember that hardly 3 to 4% of the new product launches, despite market research, focus group discussion, and whatever have you, succeed in the marketplace. If we try at a small level, our success will also be small. You have to try at a large scale. And for large scale, you need funding, you need a cadre of people, you need a facility. I have suggested to ICR that they could tie up with the Krishi Vigyan Kendras. Every district has a Krishi Vigyan Kendra. Locate your solutions at these. They have got more than 200-acre farm. So far, while meeting took place, I don't know whether anything has happened, but surely CLRI could take initiative, could tie up with all the KVKs in every district of Tamil Nadu you have. Ask them to, you don't need too much land. You just need one-fifth of an acre actually, or half an acre or 1 acre to set up a unit and show how, depending upon which problem is important in which district, so that when people come, people can have a field day, they can be invited there and showcase. Not everybody can be brought to Chennai, of course. So it is very important that we create this kind of distributed on-farm, in-field cluster trials. Fifth is Challenge Awards. And I think here Gandhi Nayudamma legacy of Challenge Awards have to be taken forward. And I'll show you some examples. Look at this. Just last month, on 31st March, United States of America recognizes the problem that all of us have faced. When we put mask, and then now people say we should use double mask, which I've been using in the morning walk. And of course, your specs get moisture and foggy because of the moisture in the breath that goes out. And there are other problems, pain in the ear and so many. So what do? They announce a $500,000 challenge award by US government to design new mask. And the last date was just 2 days ago. $500,000. Show me one award that we have announced for solving everyday problems of our own life, of our own institution, our own society. Not all problems can be solved by one lab or one institution. We will have to learn from outside. Let me give you an example. In July 29, Mahatma Gandhi announced a competition on 24 July of 1 lakh rupees, 7,700 pounds, to change the design of the charkha. He defined the conditions. How much should it weigh? What should be the cost of maintenance? What should be the quality of yarn? How long should last? What proportion of its cost should be for maintenance? All of this is specified. And the committee for judging the award included Shri Rajgopalachari, our first Governor General, top quality people of the country were supposed to judge. And if they did not reach a consensus, Gandhi said, my decision will be final. And he said, look at it. In 1929, he's showing sensitivity about patent. He said, you can patent, but if you want award money, you have to transfer the design to the Charkha Council so that we can make it open source. This was announced. And then in 1931, when he went to jail, Yerba jail, he already had a folding spinning wheel. In 29, he announces the competition, but 31, it comes up through various efforts of various people who contributed to this design. So we should have challenge award. We should have co-creation project with end users, a special window of opportunity for scientists to work with, as you have already set up. But this should be a continuing one, constantly. Today, for example, oxygen concentrator is a problem. We know how big the crisis is. People are dying because they don't have enough oxygen. Now, let's say we throw a challenge and we say, all right, industry, small units, entrepreneurs who are in this business, labs of CSIR will work together, and in the next 15 days or in 1 week, we will solve this problem and provide a low cost, maybe a few thousand rupees, small scale concentrator than bigger concentrator. They are there, but they're very costly. We can make low cost solutions so that people can afford it and they can be put in different facilities, different hospitals. It is possible. It is possible. And it requires initiative. It requires leadership. It requires initiative. 7 is for in situ value addition. You know, we do not have a great deal of effort or focus or emphasis on in situ value addition. What you did in Kolhapur, what you did in Bethany, where in Karnataka, where Toehold Artisan Cooperative was there, and any other places. You went there and did the solution, provided solution there, built the capacity, gave the tools, and everything happened. But for a lot of problems that we have in our country, no such effort is going on. For example, the entire forest produce in our country comes out of the forest unprocessed. So obviously tribal people will remain poor. We don't even have, they know how to make liquor, but we couldn't give them a fractional distillation apparatus. So they can get a lot of phytochemicals. When instead of tons, they will sell in ml, milliliter, then they will not be poor anymore. They will, obviously poverty will go away. So we need to think of not one nut from a forest is cracked by a proper cracker. Broom, small furnaces for potters. Look at this. 5,000 years ago, Bahua seed was broken by using a stone. And when we were in Shodhyatra in Bastar, we found that they are still using this. We have to change this. We have to change this problem. We have to address this problem. We have to inventorize these problems and solve it. Look at this small clip that is here. The problem was that there was a traditional way of cooking clay pots. And these clay pots, non-stick clay pot with a natural liquor, they will put it like this, put the fire, and there'll be smoke. All around there'll be smoke, and there'll be more breakage. That's how they used to do that. And this was leading to about 30% loss in breakage, as you can see, broken parts are there. And there was, of course, fumes, there was pollution, all of that. And these students during summer school, when Sashti and Jan guided them, developed a very simple open source design of a furnace, installed it, made a small video to show how it can work, closed the lid, and the solution was there. And to me, this is just one model. There are many such models required. So we need to make videos of this kind. Today, the culture, our younger generation has become visual. They don't read anymore, unfortunately. I mean, that's a tragedy of our time, but they don't read much. But they see videos, all right. All right, so we'll make videos. We have to reach out people. These were the kids, Rahul, Ayush said it, who developed this solution. So 9th suggestion that I'm giving is distributed, decentralized, collaborative design. I did a study of 9,000 patents of CSIR and isolated the ones which are on water. Many labs have developed water filters. Somebody has developed one patent, 257. But there is no effort where the best feature of each lab can be pulled together. And we can create an extremely affordable and if possible, do-it-yourself design of a water filter. So in Dhimaji, water has very high RN content. And nobody will design a water filter only for that district. Those companies will not have enough scale, they will not have enough profit at a small scale sale. So that problem will continue to be with us. They will continue to live with us. Because for small scale, niche-based markets, corporations have no incentive to develop solutions. So how do we do that? Well, maybe local startups can be encouraged. Local entrepreneurs can be encouraged. But will we not work on those problems which are not likely to diffuse? Or will we wait till the problem of iron content or other salt content in the water becomes universal and therefore that filter will then be used in large number of places? You can decide. Choice is ours. Moral choice, institutional choice, political choice, we can make ourselves. But what I'm saying is that we still haven't developed a very strong culture of collaborative problem solving. As I said earlier, collaboration with the users, co-creation, collaboration with the industry, of course, is very good done. You have done a great deal of that today. We saw that. But all labs need to be able to do that. And perhaps this is an area where some new breakthroughs are expected. Last point that I want to make, last but one, is open source standards of inclusive excellence. How does our society celebrate excellence? So we were in Purulia, West Bengal, my favorite example. And we were walking through this village, we saw beautiful terracotta horses. Why did you keep such beautiful horses? We asked the people. Somebody can break it, somebody can take it. They said, don't you see a small pathway here? I said, yes, of course we see it. When our children go to school in the morning, they can see what the current standard of the best that community could produce. They must do something better. Can you imagine? Children being challenged by the community elders that, look, this is the best we could do. You have to do better than us. Now, if this could become a way in which scholars and scientists are challenged all the time, and of course, good labs have done it. This paper that I just referred to appeared to me to be on the edge, actually. It's an ACS publication, and there might be many more. I just picked up one because I was interested in collagen. Similarly, in Bastar, we found they made small temples of outstanding people who had achieved great success in their society, and they respected them, the role models. So I think we need to create role models and have great humility in respecting those role models. Somehow, sometimes in our society, we have a very cribbing culture. We run down everything rather than taking pride in what is good in our place. And I am a great believer in celebrating excellence at all levels in society, but also at grassroots level. Can we allocate 10% of resources for adding value to people's knowledge? This could be one way in every lab can start. Okay, there are a lot of solutions that people are producing on the liquid that is put in after washing the leather, soaking the leather, there is a liquid. What can we make out of that liquid which is going waste and is having very acidic in nature? Can we ensure that whatever we do research on people's knowledge will be shared back with them in local language? Can we ensure that when we validate the people's knowledge, we follow proper protocol, because sometimes the bad protocol can invalidate people's knowledge or no fault of theirs? How do we enrich the capacity of the people to solve problems using scientific tools and techniques? How do we democratize science, technology, innovations? The new science, technology, and innovation policy makes such statements, but how will they implement is a real question that we have. Unless we empower and create new windows of opportunity for our labs, for our scientists, for our students, and provide them more and more opportunities. I'm not saying you do show the answer, but at least I'm going to teach a course in CSIR to what 800 students have registered for this course. And I'm going to tell them that, look, take some time out when things improve in your community and spend some time in the slums and the villages where the people with whom, in domain in which you work, the problem is evident in that community, and absorb, see how people are coping. And maybe some of the solutions that they are using could be improved upon. Maybe they have not been able to find any solution, and maybe you will develop solutions. So innovation for grassroots and innovation from grassroots, both are important. Now let me come to the last part, that creativity counts, knowledge matters, and innovations transform, and incentives inspire, but not just monetary incentives, also non-monetary incentives, not just individual incentives, but also collective incentives. And I have done this exercise many times in our classes. And when we begin the exercise, students will always say material individual is the most important part. And by the end of the discussion, they realize that most of them actually will prefer non-monetary collective and non-monetary individual. Appreciation, freedom, flexibility, ability to do things that you want to do, all of these empower people in their lives. And only empowered scientists can really help empower people. So I believe there's a close correlation between how empowered the young scientists feel in a lab and how enthusiastic they will be to work with the people. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, sir, for the inspiring, scintillating, and thought-provoking lecture on the necessity for recognizing the out-of-box thinking from anybody and everybody on Earth. And it doesn't end with just learning and leveraging, but also demands linking and legitimizing. And it also gives us responsibility to ensure that it reaches to the masses. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Now I would like to invite Dr. KJ Sriram, Director CSIR-CLRI, to read out the citation, please.
Thank you. The Y. Nayudamma Lecture 2021, CSIR Central-Led Research Institute citation. Whereas CSIR Central-Led Research Institute has established Y. Nayudamma Lecture as a special lecture during the leather research industry get-together, and whereas Dr. Anil Kumar Gupta, founder Honeybee Network, has acquired respect and admiration as a scholar in the areas of grassroots innovations, and his contributions, including documenting people's knowledge with the help of teams of volunteers across India, ensuring recognition, respect, and reward for the grassroots innovators and protection of their intellectual property rights. Whereas he has delivered the Y. Nayudamma Lecture 2021 in a manner befitting the values and contributions of Professor Y. Nayudamma, and wherefore the Indian leather sector wishes to express its sincere appreciation for his valuable and stimulating contribution in nation building. On behalf of the entire leather sector, sir, we present to you this citation today, and we also thank you for being here and delivering the Y. Nayudamma Lecture. We would reach out this citation to you through my colleague Abhinandan, who is stationed in Ahmedabad. And extremely thank you, sir, for this wonderful lecture. Shakila.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the citation. Now I would like to thank everyone present here in the meeting for your sincere cooperation. I would like to thank Dr. T. Ramaswamy for readily accepting our immediate invitation and presiding over the function. I would like to thank Dr. Anil Kumar Gupta for his Y. Nayudamma Lecture 2021, focusing on innovations reaching to the bypassed communities and regions through science, technology, and management. I thank the chairman and members of Research Council of CLRI, former directors, members of IUL TCS Committee, SLTC UK, members of Alpha Team, ILTA Team, CSIR family, and CLRI family, and other stakeholders for your unstinted support to the Institute and lecture. On behalf of the CLRI Foundation Day Celebration Committee, I would like to express my sincere gratitude to Dr. KJ Sriram, Director CSIR-CLRI, for his continuous support in organizing this event. I thank all the committee members and the chairman and the support team, IT, AC, and instrumentation for their support. I thank one and all present here in the meeting for your patient listening. The session concludes here, and we shall assemble back at 4:30 p.m. for B.M. Das Memorial Lecture. Thank you one and all.
Thank you, Professor Gupta. I'll keep in touch with you through Abhinandan.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Bye.
Thank you, Anil. Wonderful.
Thank you, Dr. Ramaswamy. Thank you so much. I'm charged. Thank you so much. I'm grateful.
Thank you very much. It's nice to see you again. Thank you, Sriram. Thank you. Thanks
Thank
all
you,
of you.
sir. Thank you, Dr. Buddhadev, for joining in.